That's a great success, and I'm sure well deserving. And congratulations on your reward or award. So, um, just have a few questions from you. We're so excited to be able to sponsor this award, and really would like to know a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and how you became involved with CTE.
Okay. Um, I'm probably one of those people who are the trifecta. I was a high school, and I'm old, so I'll say distributive education student, which is now marketing ed. Uh,
You're not old, you're experienced.
yeah, okay. Good point. But it was actually my teacher that just really changed the way I saw things and really kind of motivated me. I really all of my if you looked at all of the tests I took, they all said I should go into science and math. Well, I ended up going to college and becoming a marketing ed and business ed teacher. And one of the things that was a turning point for me was I did the cooperative education program in high school too. And so I was in the program for 3 years. I know I've used your textbooks as a student, and I know I've used your textbooks as a teacher. From there, I went on and I originally was from Wisconsin, but I moved to Illinois. And so in Illinois, I taught business education, and I also worked for Northern Illinois University, and I was a research assistant and taught at the graduate level too for a while there, and at a community college there. And so I really had a lot of experience with CTE, but then I was really focused in on marketing and business ed. At the end of my time in Illinois, I switched to IT. So then I became an IT instructor, and I went back for more certification and more schooling. But the whole time I had a mentor, and this mentor who helped me along the way happened to be a CTE director. And I so admired him that that's what I wanted to be. When I moved to Minnesota, I got my principal's license. I was teaching business and marketing. I was the department chair for Wayzata Public Schools. And I attend all of the ACTE conferences. So if you're the rep there, I go to the expo and find it invaluable. So always looking for things for my teachers. But because of my mentor, I really wanted to be a CTE director. Then it was called vocational director. So I thought, this is what I want to be, because I want to work with teachers and inspire them to do the same things that I do and make them see how they can make a difference in students' lives. And it doesn't always have to be the college route. It can be going right into the work world and, being a co-op teacher for probably, at least 20 years of my career. I really valued that school to work experience that students get and the growth that they had. So, I've had college teaching I taught in the teacher ed program at Hamline University so that I could teach teachers how to teach technology. High school experience, middle or junior college experience, community college experience. So I've taught everything, plus being a student. It's just been a passion of mine because I've had people that have guided me along the way, and I've seen it make a difference. So that's how I came involved in CTE. It's all been the people and the things that I've seen it do, that it's happened along the way. Plus, I have to say I was also a DECA student. So, I was a DECA advisor, a BPA advisor. So I'm one of those people that's fully ingrained and branded, with everything, all phases.
That's outstanding, and it sounds like your passions kind of developed over the years, and you just kind of followed your heart. And is there anything, one event or one thing that you can point to that says, that's really why I wanted to do this, or what's made you so passionate about CTE?
I think the one thing that really sealed it was all of the things that I did to support students and how I saw students grow. Um, I I remember when I was still in Illinois, I had a student who honored me in his college years. He had to pick his most valuable teacher and the teacher that inspired him, and it was me. And I was like really kind of shocked because usually it's academic teachers. It's usually not, your marketing ed teacher or something like that.
Yep.
So I was really shocked, and he said, "No, I learned work ethic, I learned passion, and I just enjoyed coming to class every day." And he actually now is in marketing, and he's a VP of marketing, and I still hear from him. But his essay that he wrote was like, "Yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I'm making a difference for kids. I'm seeing kids change, and I'm really inspiring kids." Also, the other thing would be all of the students that have been inspired because of the CTSOs. The student orgs is essential, and I think that changes, and that relationship you build with the student there, it's just something that will guide them. You see them develop leadership. It goes beyond the classroom. So yeah, it's students that have guided me and made me passionate. It's students that I don't do it for me. I don't do it for money. I've never done it for money because, I have a principal's license and I never pursued that. I chose to stay in the field and to do CTE, and because that's where I see myself making a difference in life. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, and that's so well said. Being an administrator, though, that's a very important position because without administrators, there are no CTE programs. And you are that's a role that a lot of people it takes a special person for that role. So, what advice would you give to other CTE administrators? How do they make their programs successful and viable and continue to thrive?
I'd say there were two key things: cultivating and building a relationship with your instructors. Your programs are only as good as your instructors are, and you have to make sure your instructors have the resources that they need. You have to make sure your instructors have the guidance and the mentors that they need to grow. I send teachers to ACTE every year. I mean, I put aside money in my budget to make sure my CTE teachers go, because I think it's so important that they engage and are exposed to best practices. And then the other thing is to develop a partnership. A lot of our work has to be because of our business partners and our advisory boards. I mean, they help us stay current. Having our instructors be mentored by businesses, developing the relationship between them is vital. It's vital. So there's a lot that goes into keeping them alive, but just understanding also and not living in the past, looking to the future. What should I be doing different? How can we grow, and how can we make our programs good for today and down the road for the future? And again, you have to have the right teachers that want to do that, that want to develop those relationships. I have really good relationships with my college partners, and we have a lot of concurrent and articulated college credit in CTE. And we've developed those. That was the other thing that really grew our programs, because if you develop those relationships and students see that there's that they can really value their CTE course to go to college. So I always try to encourage my instructors to work with the college partners to develop concurrent enrollment classes, articulated college credit classes. But again, it's all about best practices, relationships, supporting them and getting them what they need.
Yeah, that's outstanding, and that's great that you make sure that they go to the conferences because it is important. And thank you for doing that. So obviously 2020 has been a very challenging year, to say the least. What support or encouragement would you give to other administrators, in this COVID-19 pandemic and dealing with all the nuances that COVID-19 has created? Any advice for your fellow administrators?
Well, don't give up hope. Would be the first thing I would say to them. But then the other thing would be continue to work with your instructors. I mean, they're struggling right now. Provide them with anything you can to help support them with best practices for distance learning. Distance learning was very foreign for most of our teachers. They did not know how to do this. They struggle every day. I saw people didn't disengage, and it's just a matter of building a relationship and listening to them and listening to what their needs are, and then trying to come up with some creative ways. I've seen some very creative ways that teachers have done things differently. I was just talking to our woods manufacturing teacher, and he was talking about how he has the students doing models for what they're going to build at home. They do the SketchUp at the home computers. They are then sending them to him. He's cutting them on the CNC router at school and putting the kits together, and then they're picking them up so they can do them at home. So there are ways. I would say if they can get their teachers to connect with other teachers and hear about what other teachers are doing, that's really the thing. Because when you teach in a silo and you don't look to other things, it's really harmful. And the teachers are so lost, they're struggling. And so they need the support. They need people to just listen to what their needs are, and hopefully so they don't quit. I mean, right now, that's the biggest concern we have is a lot of the teachers just are giving up. They want to leave the profession. And that's sad. So again, it goes back to my other answer: build relationships, talk to them, listen to them, support them. That's what I would say is the number one thing. And I diverted a lot of my budget to things that they could use for distance learning. What do they need for distance learning? What can they do? Can you connect them to resources? I told all of mine, join a professional organization. I will pay for that professional organization. Join it, because you need the support and you need people to give you ideas and people to talk to. And all those professional organizations, they're doing that, and they're putting together these things and they're working with them. So that would be my advice.
Well, that's great advice, and that's outstanding, actually. Looking back over your career, is there one moment or one accomplishment that you can name that is you're most proud of?
Well, that's really easy because I'm living that dream right now. About 4 or 5 years ago, we started a partnership with our local Chamber of Commerce. And our local Chamber of Commerce was serving, well, right now she told me there are 2,100 different businesses are part of the Chamber. And they wanted to partner with our consortium, because I am the director of a consortium of schools also. And so there are 10 school districts and 2 colleges in our consortium. Minnesota divides Perkins into consortiums. And this relationship that I worked really hard to build with them, and the whole consortium got behind, has developed into phenomenal things. We have our own platform for students called Elevate Futures. We've created a career booklet for students now. We have a virtual career fair because of our platform. We have externships for students. And this is all, with the help of the Chamber and everything they do. They put on last year for us a talent symposium where we talked about equity and access to CTE programs. So we do a regional advisory board that they're hosting this coming Friday for us. So that partnership has been probably my proudest moment because of the fact that it really brought school and industry together, and we really set up goals. We came up with 34 things we're trying to accomplish. We have a platform of 4 things that we do every year now. And again, I couldn't do it alone. It's with the partners, but it is something that, that I'm really proud of, that we could do this as a group, and that we are really seeing the rewards for students, for parents, for other administrators. We now have other consortiums that are asking to use some of our resources. So I know what we're doing is worthwhile.
Wow, that's outstanding. That's fantastic. Being a member of ACTE, what do you get out of it? What do you value most, and what would you say to someone who's maybe considering, like you said, you're encouraging your teachers to join a professional association? What would you say to them about becoming a member of ACTE?
Well, I've been the president of our state association for the last few years, plus the administrators CTE association. So I value professional organizations greatly. And so when I talk to my teachers, I tell them that, number one, they are going to learn best practices. And that's what I've valued over the years, is the best practices that I've learned. The fact that I could go to conferences. I've been really lucky that everyone I've worked with has allowed me to go to conferences using Perkins funding. And these conferences, I've picked up best practices, I've gained friends, I've learned about, assessments. I think right now as the administrator, I go every year to go through the expo so that I can talk to all the publishers and find out what's going on. I go to the workshops so that I can find the latest trends. And then I try to bring my teachers, but I do more than just bring teachers. Every year I bring guidance counselors, and I'll bring other administrators, because I want them to see the importance of what CTE is and what we do, how we integrate academics into what we do each time. So all these things, I've learned so much from the conferences. I love going to National Policy Seminar every year and working with the people in Washington and the ACTE team. So it's been a great resource. They've helped me a lot with my state organization. And supported me as a state president too. So that's been really good too. So I couldn't say it's been a great thing. I do truly try to get all my teachers to participate and join things and see the value. We've been doing some workshops on professionalism. And again, professionalism starts with learning about all the other best practices out there and going and connecting. So that's what it does for me.
Yeah, well, it's huge, and that's great, and that's great advice to give to others. So, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
You sound like you're a fantastic administrator and a great CTE educator. Do you have any questions for us, or? Is there anything I could, or suggestions for Goodar Wilcox?
No, we do use your text, so that's really been a good thing. And I definitely think your presence at the conference is very valuable. I know that it helps to have my teachers come and connect that way. So, you support this award and other awards. Why do you think it's important for you to support an award like this?
Well, one, Goodar Wilcox, and I don't know if you know this, Jean, but we only publish for career and technical education. So that's our focus, and we're going to be turning 100 years old in January.
Oh, wow.
we've been doing it for a long time. And one of the principles that we have is that we have to support our constituents, but more in our industries that we work in. And, we find that by supporting teacher awards and educator awards and administrator awards is so important because they don't always get the credit that they deserve. Sometimes other departments in the schools get the credit, and the CTE program is, not always recognized for the outstanding work that they do. And so we probably within the last 15, 20 years, we said, this has got to be one of our primary focuses is supporting these educators and the profession so that they continue to want to be CTE educators and grow the profession. We need administrators like you. Like I said, without you, there are sometimes no programs. And without programs, our field could really suffer. So we want to make sure we recognize those people and thank them for the contributions that they make and how they touch so many students across the world to be better people, to be leaders in our community, to be successful citizens. And it all starts with a really good educator and a good program. And CTE is an outstanding program.
Well, it's really great that you support CTE so well and that the company is passionate about it, because you are right. CTE is kind of the stepchild many times, and they're not always valued. But I think when you work with students and parents and they can see the difference it can make for them, it's a great thing. So what's one thing that's going to change for your company? Because I'm sure the COVID has affected your company also.
Yeah, and it's really affected everyone, because it was March, and in fact, I was away with my daughter, who was a senior in college at the time, on spring break, her final spring break. And she got a call from her college and said, "Don't come back." And I was going, "Oh my gosh." And I got a call from my office, and they said, our president said, "I don't think we should have people in the office. We need to stay at home." And in one day, the whole world changed, it seemed like. And we went into a remote work environment, remote learning. And it was just an amazing thing that happened right before all of our eyes. And I think what's so great about the American people is that we didn't complain about it. We just kind of rolled up our sleeves and said, okay, let's do it and let's make the best of it. We were fortunate because all of our materials are digital, and they can be used in a print environment, a digital environment, or a combination of both. And one of the things that Goodhart did is we reached out to every single customer and worked with ACTE even to say, hey, if you need resources for the rest of the year, we will provide them for you complimentary. And just so you have something that you can lead your classrooms with and use for instruction, and give you the instructor resources so that you can keep things going. Because, those poor kids just got, like my daughter, don't come back. Stay at home.
Yeah,
we don't want you in school anymore. And so by doing that, though, and you said earlier, a lot of instructors and educators weren't ready for this. So we've had to do a lot of coaching, helping implement new programs, kind of showing people. It could be some simple things, or it could be as complicated as integrating with LMS systems and class rosters and single sign-ons and incorporating new technology. But we all work through it together. Educators are patient, schools are patient. I think we as a company were patient, and we just got it done. And going forward, it's definitely digital has become an important piece to that educational component, and it's going to continue to grow. And I think as a company, we're positioned to keep building on it and making sure we provide educators all the tools and resources they need to either teach remote, to teach in a classroom, to have print material, to have digital material, to be able to do activities and simulations and animations that you can't do when you're not in class and you're not in a shop or a kitchen or a culinary lab. So we have to think differently and provide that content to them differently. But we're doing it, and it's really been it's really been great for education as a whole, because we've kind of pivoted a little bit into how we, like you said, you got to look at how you can do these things differently and better and improve it. And it's forcing all of us to do that.
Yeah, and you know, the school districts really did appreciate all the publishers and all of the resources that they were able to use during the COVID time last spring. And you know, it really helped them because they needed to have time just to figure out what to do, and having some of those resources made available to them, it made a big difference. So thanks for doing that, and please pass that on to everyone in the company. Thank you for supporting the teachers in that way and the schools in that way, because we needed to reset. We needed the time to reset, and we needed time to figure out, well, what do we do? What do we do? You know, because nobody was ready, and it just came out of nowhere. And at least now, nobody likes that we're back in distance learning again, but at least we're better prepared. You know, and so the resources you provided were greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you.